Welcome back, everybody, to the Nerdcore interview series here on our YouTube and podcast platforms. As always, is the Dirty Chicano himself, Raul. Hello, everybody. We're coming to you live from Tribeca Film Festival 2022. As today, I'm being joined by Martin Boulocq, director of the Tribeca premiering film, The Visitor, El Visitante. Hello, Martin. How are you doing today?
Hey Raul, how you doing? Thank you very much for the invitation.
Of course, of course. I hope I pronounced your last name correctly. Is that how you say it?
Yes, Boulocq. Yes.
Look, okay. All right. Well, hopefully you're having a good day. I first just want to tell you I love the movie. The movie was
Oh, thank you so much.
very powerful film.
Thank you very much.
Reminds me it's very patient. Reminds me a lot of a film that I watched at Sundance called Utama. Um,
Well, Utama is from Bolivia too.
Yeah, from Bolivia. Yeah, and very patient. Very patient film, and I really really like that one as well. And this one just has that same kind of pacing, and I think you kind of need that pacing. So I just wanted to tell you that you did a great job. I really thought the film was wonderful, and I can't wait for everybody to see it because this
Mhm.
was really really good.
I really appreciate your words, Raul. Thank you very much.
Of course. I'm gonna go ahead and keep it short and sweet here with you. I got a couple of questions, so don't want to take up too much of your time because I'm sure you have like
Or-
10,000 more of these interviews today.
no problem.
Yeah. So of course the film stars Enrique Arroz, and Arroz is a newcomer. I checked out his IMDb page. This is his first movie he's ever done. So
Yes,
how was it working with him?
yes. Actually, the idea of the film came when I saw him in an opera because he's a singer. Actually, he's a professional singer, lyrical professional singer. And when I saw him in a theater in an opera, I just said, this is my next film. I wanna make a character, and he has to be the actor.
Yeah. Yeah, so you basically just discovered him. Wow, that's interesting. Well, I was sitting around there and I was watching. And I thought, man, he has such a great voice. He has like a very operatic voice. I thought that maybe he was like maybe that was like ADR or something, and like you got somebody else to do it, but that was all him. That's amazing.
Yeah. I wrote the script thinking of him.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, the film is about, Umberto, who is this ex-convict. He comes back to his to this town in Bolivia, and he sees that he's having a hard time trying um to reconnect with his daughter because of his father-in-law. And one of the big parts of this film is the whole presence of basically evangelicalism in Bolivia, and especially the whole neo-colonist type of presence of that. How not important. I'm trying to say, like, how accurate was that to like what present day Bolivia looks like right now?
Well, evangelical church are in Bolivia from a lot of decades before, but in the last maybe 10, 20 years, it becomes more powerful than before. So nowadays, it's a phenomenon that it's very very into the social structure right now. I mean, everybody has some family or some relative or some friend that is in this kind of church already. Yeah.
Yeah, seems to be a growing thing throughout all of Latin America.
Yes, absolutely. Yes. For me, it's a kind of ideological neo-colonialism, um, and my film tries to portray that more than talk about the religion and the in God and the faith and etc. It's more about politics at the end. More about ideology and how religions works as a enterprise of as a because these church are kind of organizations, companies, like empresas, le decimos en español, um, eh, que de alguna forma están capitalizando el sufrimiento humano, ¿no?
Yeah. In a way, they're capitalizing on the human spirit. Yeah, exactly. Um, and I mean, it's so interesting because you bring up like the whole politics of it all. And I read let's go. I don't know if anybody else does, but I read the press kit. I read on your statement and you talking about how like you literally shot this during civil unrest in 2019. Um, was there any difficulties shooting during that time? Did a little bit of stuff that you were talking about in the film hit a little bit too close to what was going on at the time?
Yes, it was a kind of like nightmare because we were talking about these themes, and suddenly it's like the reality becomes more than fiction,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, it starts these social issues, and we have to stop some days to shooting. um,
Yeah.
Not always, not just because it was almost impossible to shoot because all the streets were blocked, etc., etc., but because in a sense, me and part of the crew and the cast were very affected but por lo que estaba pasando,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, by what was happening. Yeah. It's so interesting because like I had during Sundance, I had interviewed two Chilean filmmakers for their short film Bestia that was nominated at the Academy Awards for Best Animated Short. They kind of brought up the same thing because while they were making Bestia, the civil unrest was happening in Chile at the time. So there were days that were like we really couldn't go to work, and that really is so interesting because it's like probably like oh like kind of like I brought it up to them like you probably feel like well I'm over here working on my art while outside they're fighting for their freedoms to live in this country. It's just it's so interesting the way that the factors like that influence a film.
Yes, absolutely. In some way, some things of what happening get se pegaron en la película. Son
Yeah.
pequeños detalles, but yeah, 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 because maybe you know, uh, even if nobody expected these conflicts occur,
Yeah.
um, in the air, in like in the air, you feel like something wasn't algo estaba pasando en el aire, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, something was going on. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and I wanted to go back to the thing about the evangelical church because like it's so interesting because of course your film has a heavy presence of at least people that are indigenous to the lands of Bolivia, and within the film you hear a lot of that native language being used, because that's such an interesting part to me as to like oh here's a church that during like conquest said forget about your native language, we're here to take that away from you and like completely strip you away from that. Now these new kind of churches are like oh no we kind of have to let them use that because that's how we're going to be able to get them in. How important of a factor was to keep the native language in the film?
Yes, absolutely. It's just as you said. I mean, if we go back to colonization with the Spanish, etc., um, this kind of colonization has his own modes or forms to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And nowadays, this new kind of colonization for me is like more sophisticated um, uh, approach to do the work. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? I mean, as okay, we use your language, we use some cultural heritage, and as a seasoning,
Yeah.
um,
A little bit of
kind of
sazon.
sazón, como un poquito de sazón de aquí y de allá.
Yeah, yeah.
But at the end, what is into the deep, it's a very powerful ideology, that everything, the other things are just the elements,
Hmm.
superficial elements, even the language.
Yeah. I mean, like it has a nicer bow to it now. Now they have nicer buildings, they have fancier equipment. Now you see some of these mega churches, and it's great. Now, like you have, at least here in the United States, we have televangelists. They have like their own like TV channels where they're preaching like
Yeah,
wild things to like the whole United States. I mean, it's
yeah,
just
yeah, yeah. It's yeah, they are some empresas,
yeah,
they are
yeah,
business, and they have this whole discurso, se dice discourse,
discourse. Yeah.
discourse about prosperity, like God and prosperity are the same.
Hmm.
And yeah, that's the way they took, all the money from the people that are
Hmm.
suffering.
Yeah.
But
But
at the same time, it's more complex. It's not
yeah.
that the people is, it's stupid or nothing at all. I mean, it's just it's a very complex thing that I wanted to get into and portray. That's the reason also why Umberto, the protagonist, was an evangelical before. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah, and you can tell in the film because a lot of them, like there's it's easy to manipulate people who are suffering and be able to use that against them. And I mean, but the film, like deep down, this film is about family, and it's about and it's about the struggles inside of a family to kind of allow the father to reconnect when they view their father view the father as a criminal after he's served his time. And I wanted to know how important it was to kind of like portray that emotional aspect of this film about basically a father and a daughter's relationship being preserved in this movie.
Yes. It was very important for me because if I wanted to talk about this more sociological, more political, I wanted to approach in a way that people related to it, like engage emotionally. So for me, it was very important to work on this, to construct this relationship between father and daughter, and fathers and sons, and this kind of themes I've been working on in my previous films. I'm very interested in that thematics.
Hmm. All right. Well, where can we keep up with the journey of your movie, and where, if possible, where can we find some of your past work? Because at least for me, you've already got me interested. I really do want to see your other three features because this one already hooked me in, and I'm definitely, I think in my review I said that you're one of the filmmakers that you're definitely going to want to keep your eyes on after the festival ends because your film was that good. But where can you keep up? Where can you keep up to date with all the things that are going on with your movie and your journey as a filmmaker?
Cool. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, of
Thank you so
course.
much.
Yeah. Where can you keep up to date with your journey? You got any like social media? Do you have anything like a website that I can
I'm
find your
sorry, I
film?
didn't I didn't get you. I'm
Nah, it's okay.
very with social media. I'm very like
I hate it too, man. I hate it too, and I wish I didn't have to use it because it's a very toxic place. But we
Yeah, I
have
have
to.
YouTube. I have a YouTube channel, but I really don't.
Yeah.
It's I have, I don't know, 10 followers or something like that. It's not like it's much more. It's for me.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Maybe after the festival, I will consider it to have
Yeah.
something. To
Yeah,
have
yeah, because you got a lot of people who are probably gonna watch this movie and want to see where else this movie is gonna play, and eventually, if it ever makes its way to the United States,
Yeah,
we're gonna
yeah, it's
need
a
that
good
outfit.
idea. Yeah,
Yeah,
tengo que replantear
yeah, yeah,
mi,
yeah, yeah.
mi estrategia.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
this has been my interview with Martin Boulocq, and it was been a pleasure talking to you, man. Keep up to date with all the things that we're doing here for Tribeca Film Festival 2022 on the Nerdcore by subscribing to the Nerdcore YouTube channel by going to youtube.com/nerdcore and following us on our podcast feed. We will see you on the next interview. Thank you all so much. We'll see you in the next one.
thank you very much, Raul.
Yeah,
Take
you're welcome.
care.